Why, hello guys, it's GleeCon, and I'm here again bringing you another episode of Lore of Warcraft. Today we have a special shorty coming at you. This is a series I'm going to start doing once a week to both to give myself a little bit of a reprieve from time, but also so that you guys aren't left wanting. And this is something I've been putting on the back burner for a little while, and that's the in-game lore. We did one last week. Where possible, I'm going to seek it out for you. Sometimes that might require us to go to retail, but where I can without too much inconvenience, I'm going to go to classic as well. So here, this is a long time no see guy we have here. This is old Varrock. He should show you one more time. Boom, this is our nice tough warrior we had back in the day, our tank. So if you want to find this book on your own in game, if you're on a hunt out here, it's in one of the, you can find it in a few places. Arathi Highlands is one. Scalamance is one of the main ones you can get it, and that's a holdover. You can get it in retail as well. But in Ratchet, in Classic, you can also find it in the little inn here. And so we're going to read this book. This is the second one in chronological order. We read the Ordering of the Universe or something about the Titans last time, and now we're going to read Sargeras and the Betrayal. So stay a while and listen. Over time, the demonic entities made their way into the Titans' worlds from the twisting nether, and the Pantheon elected its greatest warrior, Sargeras, to act as its first line of defense. A noble giant of molten bronze, Sargeras carried out his duties for countless millennia, seeking out and destroying these demons wherever he could find them. Over the eons, Sargeras encountered two powerful demonic races, both of which were bent on gaining power and dominance over the physical universe. This is also worth putting an aside out that once Legion hit and Cataclysm, there were some other places you could find this book, but this book, such as the new and improved docks in Stormwind, but this book was originally released as part of the 1.11 patch, the Necropolis Nax kind of thing. The Eridar, an insidious race of devilish sorcerers, used their warlock magics to invade and enslave a number of worlds. The indigenous races of those worlds were mutated by the Eridar's malevolent powers and turned into demons themselves. Now, I also think this is noteworthy to understand that when they added this book, we are a mere couple months away from Burning Crusade dropping, when you're going to get to see Draenei, you know, sort of Eridar firsthand. Basically, they are. Though Sargeras' nearly limitless powers were more than enough to defeat the vile Eridar, he was greatly troubled by the creature's corruption and all-consuming evil. Incapable of fathoming such depravity, the great Titan began to slip into a brooding depression. Despite his growing unease, Sargeras rid the universe of the warlocks by trapping them within a corner of the twisting nether. Interesting. While his confusion and misery deepened, Sargeras was forced to contend with another group intent on disrupting the Titans' order, the Nathrezim. This dark race of vampiric demons, also known as Dreadlords, conquered a number of populated worlds by possessing their inhabitants and turning them to the shadow. Now, this is, as you get deeper, particularly into Shadowlands, and you see the ties to the vampiric type races that come from one of the worlds, one of the zones of the underworld, or the afterlife in Shadowlands. But also, it starts to differentiate, really, that Nathrezim aren't really demons in the same way that the Burning Legion are demons. The nefarious, scheming Dreadlords turned whole nations against one another by manipulating them into unthinking hatred and mistrust. Sargeras defeated the Nathrezim easily, but their corruption affected him deeply. So it's interesting, one, that even back then in their original incarnation, they're known more than anything else for their manipulation and corruption. It almost has become a trope at this point. And second, they are so good at it that they have even manipulated and duped Sargeras, one of the Titans, the founders. As doubt and despair overwhelmed Sargeras' senses, he lost all faith not only in his mission, but also in the Titans' vision of an ordered universe. Eventually, he came to believe that the concept of order itself was folly, and that chaos and depravity were the only absolutes within the dark, lonely universe. If you want to get some context for that, I suggest reading Chronicles 1, where they go into a lot more detail. It's not quite... I don't think it's so much that he believes that chaos and depravity are the only absolutes. I interpreted it more a little differently. His fellow Titans tried to persuade him of his error and calm his raging emotions, but he disregarded their more optimistic beliefs as self-serving delusions. Storming from their ranks forever, Sargeras set out to find his own place in the universe. Although the Pantheon was sorrowful at his departure, the Titans could never have predicted just how far their lost brother would go. By the time Sargeras' madness had consumed the last vestiges of his valiant spirit, he believed that the Titans themselves were responsible for creation's failure. Deciding at last to undo their works throughout the universe, he resolved to form an unstoppable army that would set the physical universe aflame. Now, again, I might be misremembering or adding my own kind of interpretations onto this, or seeing what I want to see, reading what I want to read. But I would say that one, it wasn't just that he didn't really think that the Titans were self-serving, or if so, I missed that part. He just thought they were naive. And two, I don't think he believed, or at least I don't remember this from Chronicles. It's been a few years, a couple years since we read this on this channel. But I don't remember it being he believed that they were responsible, but just that they were powerless to stop it in their current, in the machinations they were currently using. Even Sargeras' titanic form became distorted from the corruption that plagued his once noble heart. His eyes, hair, and beard erupted in fire, and his metallic bronze skin split open to reveal an endless furnace of blistering hate. In his fury, Sargeras shattered the prisons of the Eridar and the Nathrazim, and set the loathsome demons free. These cunning creatures bowed before the Dark Titan's vast rage, and offered to serve him in whatever malicious ways they could. From the ranks of the powerful Eridar, Sargeras picked 2 champions to command his demonic army of destruction. Kil'jaeden the Deceiver was chosen to seek out the darkest races in the universe and recruit them into Sargeras' ranks. The second champion, Archimonde the Defiler, was chosen to lead Sargeras' vast armies into battle against any who might resist the Titan's will. I think that more or less tracks from some of the earlier Christie Golden and books that we read. Kil'jaeden's first move was to enslave the vampiric dreadlords under his terrible power. The dreadlords served as his personal agents throughout the universe, and they took pleasure in locating primitive races for their master to corrupt and bring into the fold. First amongst the dreadlords was Tichondrius the Darkener. Tichondrius served Kil'jaeden and as the perfect soldier, and agreed to bring Sargeras' burning will to all the dark corners of the universe. I would extend here to maybe say, I don't believe he so much as enslaved them as sought to use them as a tool, and because they are such manipulators, they played along. I don't believe that they kill Sargeras any more than they serve anyone. The mighty Archimonde also empowered agents of his own, calling upon the malefic pit lords and their barbarous leader, Manaroth the Destructor. Archimonde hoped to establish a fighting elite that would scour creation of all life. Once Sargeras saw that his armies were amassed and ready to follow his every command, he launched his raging forces into the vastness of the Great Dark. He referred to his growing army as the Burning Legion. Again, this is precursoring the expansion that was about to drop. To this date, it is still unclear how many worlds they consumed and burned on their unholy burning crusade across the universe. So that's a cool... It takes us into a spot where we can look in a neat way that they tried to precursor the expansion. They dropped these Easter egg books in a few places in the game where you can actually learn about what was about to happen. It's also neat to see how the game, how the lore has been retconned to some extent and evolved from another. But either way, pretty cool. That was a good book. That was interesting. And really what it makes me want to do is go back and look, and you should too, at some of our previous episodes where we read Chronicles. Of course, you could look at Chronicles yourself, but why not have me interrupt every sentence with my commentary? Thank you, everybody, so much for watching and for listening. Varrock misses you, and I do too. I'll see you next time on Lore of Warcraft.